your boy Urban High, Urban Philosopher, aka Amontes'TV. Yeah, I was just thinking about something about far as people being talented, far as music goes, singers, rappers, or whatever you want to call it. Because I've ran across a lot of people that was very, very talented when it came to singing and rapping, especially singing. You know, especially when I was incarcerated. It was dudes in there that could sing. I mean, whatever style you want, rock style, R&B, of course, gospel was real big. But dudes that really have very great voices, I mean, not just great voices, I mean, can really control their voice. I mean, know how to appeal to the crowd. I mean, very, very dope individuals. And I noticed that, you know, at first, you know, I was always thinking, if you can sing, man, there's no way you can't make it. But, you know, as I've been in the game a little while, doing my own music thing, not singing, but rapping, but, you know, still dealt with a lot of people that know how to sing, that know how to write, and still don't make it, because it really ain't about how good you really are. You know what I mean? It's like, it's almost got to be, it's almost a little bit of luck also. You know, luck, I don't want to say just luck, but yeah, it's just luck, because like being in the right place, right time, right situation, the right team, all that count, man. It's not just your talent. I mean, you as an individual, some people can still put themselves in the game using other things surrounding their talent and not just the talent itself to get themselves in the door. But that's a lot of work for anybody, you know what I mean? And when I really thought about it, all them times that I heard this dude, like, man, if I had that voice, you know, by singing, man, I'd be this, I'd be that. And I still feel that way, because I feel like I'm creative enough to make it happen, but I also felt like they were too. Like, they was really them dudes, man. Or, you know, I mean, I done messed with, you know what I mean? They can say, like my uncle, my mama's brother, he was a baby brother. And then, you know, we used to call him Marty, you know. And, man, see, my grandfather already was a gospel singer anyway. So, you know, he, you know, picked that up. You know, the family could sing. I mean, you know, like my mother, you know, their older brother, all of them could really sing. Like, the older brother, I just didn't realize he could sing just as good as Marty. You know, but I thought Marty was the greatest singer in our family. I mean, that's how great he was. He was on Prince level, man, with him, man. Both of them, you know what I mean? And he was talented, but he didn't want it. You know, he didn't want to be a singer, you know? So that, you know, he had that talent, and then, I mean, I ain't gonna say he didn't want to be a singer, but that's, he was a criminal, you know. He liked to put his hand on stuff. That's what he did. So he just, you know, it's always them dudes like that have all that talent, and rather than use that or make their moves based on that, instead they just rather do the crime or whatever, you know. And like I said, of course, drugs have a lot to do with it also. I don't know. It's just sad. It really is, because, you know, I mean, this dude was elite, man. He could play the guitar, could play the piano, could read music, man. It was very, very talented, man. And I met a lot of these guys, man. When you see them when they in the penitentiary, they normally at their best at the time, because they ain't under no influence of drugs no more. At that point, once you in the penitentiary, that means you done got past the city jails, you done got past the where you got it's a part there where you go through where you got to ask a lot, you know, it asks you a lot of questions, take a lot of blood from you, check you, make sure you ain't got no diseases, you know, everything. Almost like animals for real, you know what I mean, to be honest with you. And I remember they used to take like 4 or 5 tubes of blood, you know what I mean? And in the process, you know, you meet people all the time, you know, because when you know how you look at movies got the version of with the pen is, and then you got your real version. And then, don't get me wrong, you still have versions like you see on TV too, but they normally in places like California or, you know, a big, you know, large cities, you know, yeah, and then, you know, because sometimes, but you can't sleep on them side country jails or nothing either, you know what I mean? You know, we realize how some of these dudes and people are very nasty people, and they are really who they are, you know what I mean? They don't know no better, can't read, illiterate, you know. Then you realize that that's why they always go back to crime, because they didn't have the proper knowledge, or was taught too much, or maybe they didn't want to be taught, who knows? So, of course, you go back to what you're familiar with, your habits. But, man, these people be talented, man, same kind of dude that can't read or nothing. but find a way to write a song in his head, know the words you want to say, and make a beautiful song, but can't barely write his name. Yeah, it ain't all about the voices. It's just things that come around. It's somebody like him, like R. Kelly, they would take advantage of him, get him there so they can take advantage of him. Anyways, your boy, Urban Hot Earth Philosopher. Peace.